Hey everybody, nice to see you again. Gonna keep playing a little bit of D2 because it's Saturday, it's a weekend. And we don't have any class on Monday, so we've got an extra day to do a little bit of streaming. Let's go ahead and get at it. So I added a couple of things now that we're starting to move along a little bit. We've got some runes listed there over next to the character name, kind of running down the side of the screen. We may or may not find all of those by the time we get out to Nightmare or so, but there's involved in that list is a weapon rune word that we want called Spirit. There's a rune word for a weapon for a mercenary that we will eventually get called Insight. There's something called a lore helm in there, which will give us a skill through our helmet or through our headpiece, as well as I think there's a shield in there too. I put in Ancient's Pledge, which we get Ancient's Pledge kind of by default. There's a simple quest that we can do in Act 5 that'll give us all the runes for Ancient's Pledge, but honestly, I was just kind of looking at the layout and wanted those runes to go all the way down the side, so we put all the runes in there that we might need. And then I've also included a couple of map notes, because there are patterns to the way the maps work. I rarely remember what they are, but they are there. So I will try to keep track of those as we're moving along, so that we can hopefully move a little bit faster. And we might talk about some of those maps as we go. But we are in Act 2 now, so we'll update that. Let's see here. There we go. I don't think we really need to sell anything or grab anything. It would be nice sooner or later to get a 3-slot belt. We still only have a 2-slot belt. We have no gloves and no belts. No belt, glove, and no boots. So anything along those lines could help us out. We're not really going to bother with a mercenary yet, because we don't have a need to get a mercenary. Excuse me. Things that we're looking for gloves, I mean, honestly, 19 MF, it's not bad. I mean, we don't have too much for the gloves. Any kind of res for the gloves would be nice. Res on the boots, faster run walk on the boots would be nice. Yeah, we don't have very high standards for what shows up on there. One thing that we're going to do is we're going to run down into the sewers, and in the sewers we're going to get an extra level, or well, I shouldn't say a level, it's a skill point. When we get there's a guy named Radamant sitting down there in the bottom of the sewers, and when we defeat him, he will drop a book, and that book will give us an extra skill point. So we're still going to go with, I think, Fireball for a while, just because I'm comfortable with it. Makes fairly short work of most of the stuff that we're dealing with here, so we'll stick around with Fireball for a while. We are going to keep an eye out too for level 17, because when we get 17, we will be able to then put on our stealth armor, which will be good. Oh, excuse me. Sorry about that. I hope I got that far enough away from the mic for y'all that it didn't. The other thing I'm trying to do is practice a little bit, just because I'm not particularly good at it yet. The whole pattern of Frost Nova, static them down a little bit, grab a potion, and then Fireball. Right, so I'm trying to practice that here, even on the ones that aren't necessarily needing it. Right, we don't need static field on random skellies or something like that. We can just Fireball them down. But it's good practice, so that when we get into a larger group, it's not so bad. See, like that. That was an example where I should have drank a mana potion, and I managed to not do so. That particular one was because I was expecting a mana potion where I had a health potion. Obviously something else that I need to work on. Check out that skull cap. We are going to look out for some 2-socket headpieces. I know we've already got one over in our stash, but we are eventually going to need another one for lore, which is one of the rune words that we have. Then again, you know, it's pretty easy to shop a 2-socket helm when you're not worried about its defense or anything like that, or its strength requirements, because we can always just go back to Act 1 and shop a 2-socket helm. So I guess in that sense, I'll keep the skull cap just in case we have nothing in our inventory. That way we've got something to work with in our inventory. But if we've already got one in our inventory, which I think we already put just a plain one in there. So just like that, we have already found Radamant. That was easy enough. Not only did we get our level up in here, but we're gonna grab our potion here our book. As soon as we take out Radamant. So there we go. He just dropped our book of skill. Grab that. Carry any more as you can. Got that. Not really anything in there. I mean, yeah, sure, there's a Haradric scroll, but we really don't need the Haradric scroll for anything. But that gives us, I mean, we got our level up, which is nice, but we also got the book, which will give us an extra skill point. We've already got one skull cap. We really don't need to keep another one. I think I'm going to go ahead and get us up to 25 strength now, and we'll probably just sit at 25 strength for quite a while. Increase the fireball. We'll get another one for, I think, static field. We do want to keep out, well, I guess when we get to 18, we'll just grab teleport. We don't really need any. We do need telekinesis in order to get to teleport. I'm going to go ahead and get another static field, and then we'll put the next two into teleport. And or its prerequisites.
Greetings.
Stock up on some potions. Cool. And I'm going to carry 2 antidote potions around, just because there tends to be a lot of poison damage that we get along the way. I'm going to keep checking Elzix too, just to see if there's any boots that he thinks are useful, or gloves, I guess, in this case. He doesn't have anything, we'll just keep on running over here. We're also 16, so at our next level, we'll be able to use our stealth armor, and that'll keep us running along at a pretty good clip. So there are some great monsters for leveling out here in the Act 2 areas, which are these beetles, but they also tend to throw off those sparks whenever you hit them, and that can be bad news bears. They can stack up on you pretty quick.
I can't carry anymore.
Sooner or later, we would also like a large shield.
I can't use this yet.
Apparently, I don't even have enough strength to use the large shield, but we'll come back to it at some other time. Eventually, we want to put an Ancient's Pledge in there, which will require 3 sockets. Typically, though, that's another one that we can just go shop when we need a 3-socket shield. For the most part, because we're already at level 16, we're going to be running by most of the things that are out here, unless they get directly in our way, or they're moving fast, or they bunch up like that. Right, if they bunch up, great. We can take them out that way. Mostly, I just want stuff to leave us alone. I see our little leapers are not going to leave us alone, so I'll keep hitting them. Oh, that's why. I thought it was a duration of 300 seconds. It's only a duration of 120.
I am overburdened.
Frost, no, that. Yeah. Bum, bum, bum. The tile maps in Act 2, at least up here, as I understand it, always work on a large square. I'm just absolutely terrible at identifying what that square is. So I just take the reliable route of kind of running around for a
I
while.
can't carry anymore.
We're looking for a couple of things. Act 2 is one of those collection acts. So we are looking for a Horadric cube and then 2 parts of a Horadric staff. We need the base of the staff and the top part of the staff. I'm not sure what we call the top part of the staff. But we don't need the Stony Tomb. We just have to get out of the Rocky Waste. Which it looks like this should be our exit here. Go over to the Dry Hills. The Halls of the Dead are what we're looking for out here in the Dry Hills. Cool, cool, cool. Not much there. That was really helpful. We're also going to keep an eye out for a waypoint out here. Waypoint would be nice. I think we need a tier room for anything, but just in case. Alright, now, that was suspicious that I got hit like that. It makes me think that there is a boss pack around, but it could have just been like a delayed animation of one of these guys throwing their little fireballs at me. You know, who knows? I guess we're also looking for the way out. There's whatever the next area is. I don't remember the name of the next desert that we have to get to. But we have to go find that. Nothing so far. That looks like our exit up there, so it's nice to have that. We'll go ahead and set a TP over here, but I'm going to keep looking around for the waypoint. As well as the Halls of the Dead. Both of those. There's a waypoint. So let's see. We will, I guess, jump over to our waypoint, since we know where the, not our waypoint, our town portal. Since we know where the exit is, we'll just keep running ahead, find another waypoint, and once we hit a convenient stopping place, we'll come back to that area to finish up. Small charm. Take a small charm. Small charms won't have too much that we're interested in right now, but they could, for example, have some res on them. I don't think we can find faster run walk yet, but a little bit of res would be nice because we don't have very much of anything. It's just poison res, which is basically pointless. I mean, it's not that it's entirely pointless, but it's mostly pointless.
I am overburdened.
So, this guy that we just killed, Beetleburst, is a super unique boss, and that's nice because if we can find a waypoint nearby, we could do a little bit of Beetleburst farming, which would just mean get the waypoint and then come over, kill Beetleburst, exit, come back, rinse him. He's got okay drops. and he's a good source of experience, but it doesn't look like we have our waypoint anywhere nearby. But not a bad direction that we could potentially head. Kill some beetles, get a little bit more experience for this. We're probably going to head down into that lower area, but I've been burned enough times going down there right away that I'm just going to keep looking. Plus, experience. Right, we're not trying to run through this as fast as we possibly can, so getting a little bit of extra experience as we go is not going to be the worst thing in the world. Cool, there's our waypoint. Let's head back to town for a second.
There's nothing the right portion can't cure.
Check out our gloves. See if there's anything good in here. Cool. 20 cold res, 10 lightning res, half freeze duration. Those are all going to help us out. We'll just stick with those. We'll grab a couple more mana pots and a couple of health pots. We're actually doing okay on health pots. Junk ring, stash our tier rune, and I'm going to check with... Actually, I think we'll go ahead and put our Tal Eth on with the hope that we will then be 17 here in a moment. Which I believe there's a bug where we get the
Blessings to you.
added bonus from it even before we're actually big enough to use it, because we're actually now running around a little bit faster. But we still got to get our whatchamacallit, level 17 here. So the Halls of the Dead ought to be over here somewhere. It looks like there's a an empty spot right over here, maybe. Where are you at, Halls of the Dead? Oh, it looks like there's actually a set of stairs right there on the corner, so Halls of the Dead are probably up on the upper level of the dry hills. Kind of annoying little run over here. Should go ahead and grab some stamina pots the next time we're back in town. It looks like my speed bonus just wore off, so we have to actually get to 17 now. But at least when we get to 17, we'll already have the armor on. So we can sort of glitch the armor on if we build the rune word on ourselves while we're wearing the armor. But we only get that bonus for, I think it's like 120 seconds or something like that. It's not very long. It's just nice for me because I would tend to forget about it. So I would run for, another half a level or something like that, forgetting that I could also go back to town and put the armor on. Where are you at, Halls of the Dead? That looks like you. Alright, so we can use one of our little map tricks here, just map layouts. We want to find the tile that we're in. Whoa. And whatever direction this tile is facing, we need to then go left of that. Hey, look at that. Nice amulet there. Might be worth something. Worth something in the sense that we might want to just put it on. Yeah, sure. A little bit of cold res. I mean, kind of trash res, but it is an all res amulet. And it's got 18 MF, and it's got some mana on it. That is not at all a bad amulet. Now the question is, yeah, Halls of the Dead goes to the left. Unfortunately, I don't know which direction this tile is facing. I think it's facing sort of up and to the right, sort of the northeast corner. And so I'm going to guess that it's over, what left means here is over in this direction. But I could be dead wrong. It's one of the things I'm not particularly good at, is understanding which direction we're facing when we're coming in. It's something that I think takes a little bit more experience than I've got at the minute, but, we're trying to figure it out. So if I'm correct, then what that means is we just have to keep running sort of towards the top left corner. Although, you know, it's one of those things where 3 rights can make a left, so it could be way out and around the other direction. There's not really any movement. One of the other things I like about Fireball is that I can stand outside of the rooms like that. So with Nova, I would have to dive in here and start fighting things right up next to me. But with Fireball, I can kind of stand outside the door and shoot at him. So, as you know, someone who's still figuring out how to be a sorceress effectively, that is a helpful thing. Cool. So we did end up reading that correctly. So we came in this direction, and that tile, let's see if I can move it up here. So we came in this part of our map, and that tile was generally pointing out. So straight would have been to the top right corner, and relative to that vector, then left would be in the direction we had. And sure enough, if we look at where we entered here, the entrance to the exit tile goes into the left here. So cool. We got that one right. We guessed it right. Figured it out. On Halls of the Dead 2, down here, it's a little bit easier for me to see what's straight and what's left and what's right. Because we just did it, right? We just came in here. Whatever direction you come in, that's straight, and it's a little bit easier to see down here. That won't sell for anything. Let's check our large shield. Okay, there's a 3-socket large shield. We'll hold on to it and stash it, just so that we don't have to go collecting it later. Frost Nova is really going to be our friend, along with our Shiver armor, because things can stack up in front of doors like that, and that will give us, you know, a handful of moments to get out while they're all stacked up. Almost 17 here. We should probably be 17 by the time we're at the bottom of this area. Halls of the Dead. A little shy on mana pots, but we're okay. So we're still heading off to the left. Again, left relative of the orientation that we came in, and what's ever so nice, here's Halls of the Dead 3. And that is, I think, the last Halls of the Dead. There's only 3. I don't think anything except Catacombs has 4 levels, but I could be wrong. I'm actually noticing a nice change with that little bit of extra mana that we got. This is going to be a slightly annoying level right here, just because there are all these guys that resurrect things. And one of them is a boss pack, so we kind of have to kill all the little guys and then start working on the big guys while they continue to resurrect all the little guys. So, you know,
I need mana.
a little bit
Not enough.
pattern. Pretty low on mana pots right now.
I need
Hopefully
mana.
we'll be able to pick up 1 or 2 here. Let's see. Healing, scrolls, town portals. We don't really need any of that stuff. We're going to go ahead and, well, we've got a light mana pot. Let's just head back to town really quick. Drop this stuff off and pick up some more mana pots, and then we'll grab our
Good evening.
Haradrim Cube. Don't need any poison damage, but again, we'll stash the shield
Good evening.
just so that we've got it for future reference. It'll be one less thing that we have to spend a little bit of time shopping for as we go. Get that and a couple. Oh, I didn't need an antidote potion. Just a couple of stamina potions since we have a tendency to run around a lot. So eventually we're going to need 34 strength for that, but we don't really need that for quite a while yet. I mean, we're not really going to try to put that on until like Act 5 or so. And we are going to put a point in telekinesis so that we can start working up to teleport at 18. We won't use too much teleport back here in Act 2 because it's kind of a mana hog, and so it's a little bit unfriendly in that sense at this level. At least until we get to Act 3, because in Act 3 we can then use, we can buy bigger potions, and those bigger potions help us to move around a little bit. So we've got our cube now, and generally the cube will allow you to do things like transmute things into other things. So initially what we're going to use it for is just to kind of keep our rejuve inventory down a little bit. Because for whatever reason I like to pick up rejuves, but we don't really need them right now. All we really need right now is mana and health pots. So it's not really necessary to upgrade our rejuvenation potions like that. Do a little bit of inventory Tetris here. That there. This here. Charms don't work if they are inside of your cube. And I used to keep all my charms over on the left because that's where I use them. Or that's just kind of the habit I have. And then I realized it's a lot easier if you just keep them over on the right. Because if they're over on the right, then they don't take up space while you're playing potion Tetris with everything else. So we'll just transmute all of these. Again, it's softcore, so if we die, it's not the end of the world anyway. But later on, it will be nice to have those full rejuves so that we don't have to stop and worry about anything
Blessings to you.
killing us too much. Not much in the boot region. However, we can now upgrade our belt, which I'm going to go ahead and do even though we lose faster hit recovery, just because it's so nice to be able to have 3 slots on our belt. So now we've got 3 rows down here instead of the 2 that we had before.
Good day.
Which when you're as mana hungry as the sorceress is, it's nice to have something like that. I think we've actually got enough gold that if we wanted to, we could gamble a little bit, because belts are pretty inexpensive. I just don't know if Elzix actually... Oh yeah, he will. So they only cost 3,000. Maybe we'll gamble a couple of these. Just see if we can get one with some kind of useful stat on it. 1 to strength is not it. Keep clicking the wrong button there. 3 to life. It's basically nothing, but better than absolutely nothing. We'll gamble maybe 2 more of them. There we go. There's 10 faster hit recovery, tiny little bit of mana, and some strength, right? At least it's not nothing. It's something that we can work with. And we didn't have to spend that much gold or time trying to get something like that. We've got, a little bit more faster hit recovery. So we're going to head down into the Maggot Lair. That's another one where we can use our map notes. So if you look at Maggot 1 and 2, it's off to the right. So we're coming in sort of down and to the left. So that means the right relative to down and to the left is up and to the right. Or up and to the left, I mean. So when we come across doors or choices in our maps where we can choose directions, that is how we will generally choose that. Is in that direction. I think because nothing can really surround us in the Maggot Lair too much, we'll try to just walk out and hit, with the fireball as best we can. Although that's a hard habit to break, hitting things with Frost Nova first, and it helps in situations like that. So I had a choice there in which direction to run. I'm going to keep kind of generally heading up this way, but there's so many twists and turns in here that we could very easily head in the wrong direction. It would not be at all impossible. You can see we kind of headed in the right direction, but now we're headed backwards. So I'm going to turn around and run back the way that we came. Because it looks like there's a turn off here that'll take us up and to the left a little bit. This is an area where our armor, our Shiver armor, is really helpful because it responds when something else hits us, and it's really easy for us to turn around the corner and not know that something was there and we get hit in the face. And Shiver armor keeps that from happening, or getting out of control, I should say. So that's a crystal sword. One of the rune words that we need is going to go into a crystal sword. It needs to be 4-socket though. I'm not sure if we can actually drop a 4-socket crystal shield yet, or a crystal sword, but we're going to pick them up anyway. Let's see. Crystal swords and broadswords are generally what we want for that rune word, because they will have a low strength requirement. So here we go, another turn off. Again, we're going to head towards the top right, under the assumption that somewhere up in that direction will be the exit to the next one. But we are generally headed a little more down and to the left. Or, yeah, down and to the left. We would like to head up and to the left instead. But we're getting there. We're getting there. Here we go. Cool, so the entrance to this area, this tile, which is the one that has our exit, was in the way that we expected. So here again, we're headed towards the right. We're entering down and to the left, so we're going to look for areas that are headed towards up and to the right. We're going to keep our armor up. We don't want that to suddenly run out and have, for example, a bunch of these beetles surrounding us. That would not be good. When we run into those big areas, we'll switch over to Frost Nova, because those big areas are easy places for us to get surrounded. But when we're in the tunnels like this, we'll keep it on Fireball. So now on Maggot 3, we're going to run straight, so which is basically the direction that we're headed right now, is straight. So we're just going to look for every opportunity to keep going straight and take those as we go. So here we're going to turn towards the top right because that is generally the straight direction on this map. Okay, so right over there is the chest that we need. So we're just going to turn around and head over to that. That one was actually literally straight, which, you know, we had to do a little U-bend right here to get around there. The poison that comes out of the boss in here is pretty impressive poison, so we're going to kind of stand back. Try not to hit the wall with that. Send it out over here, run over here, grab the staff. We don't really need to kill the boss in here, but since we're here anyway, and experience is never a bad thing. Cool. And now we're going to quickly head back home because that poison is going to sit there and hit us pretty hard. Most of the time you can avoid problems with poison just by drinking a health pot, which is why it's not particularly dangerous to run around poisoned, but just in case. Cool, and we will put the staff in here. That's one of them, and now we need to run out back to where we were.
Welcome.
And keep running around so that we can go find the Claw Viper Temple. Claw Viper Temple's in the Lost City, and then once we get into the Claw Viper Temple, that'll give us our other staff piece, and then that'll be the end of our desert running. Starting to feel a little bit better with the amount of mana that we have. You know, we're starting to... Maybe it's not that I feel better with the mana, I'm just getting more accustomed to drinking the mana pot as often as we need in order to keep fireballing stuff. It's entirely possible that that's all that's happening. Okay, so the exit, let's see, we came in this direction. You know, it could still actually be down there. Let's look for a set of stairs and run down there, and then we'll check the bottom right again. This would be a place where it'd be nice to have like a teleport, because we could just hop over this barrier here and not have to run all the way around out here to this set of stairs, just to find out if what we need is down there or not. Nice collection of itchies here. Give us too much trouble to take them out. We're keeping those chip topaz again because we may end up re-rolling some wands. So we can go back to, I think what I'll end up doing, since we've already got a faster cast rate wand, we'll keep an eye out for sorceress wands that are just blue.
Not enough mana.
Actually, I'm not sure if we can re-roll sorceress wands. I would have to double check. We'll keep an eye out for a sorceress wand and try to re-roll it in the cube with some chip gems. Because if we can do that, that's a quick way to re-roll it and try to get like a faster cast rate and a skill on it. And we can just kind of keep re-rolling it with all of our chip gems. There's not really a limit to what we'd have to do, I think. Because I could be wrong, but it might lower the item level each time you re-roll it, but that I could be thinking of it different. Cube recipe. We're just gonna keep running away from these guys, trying to get over here.
Not enough mana.
Cool. So still struggle a little bit there, I can see, when we're up against a fairly large size pack like that, and I'm sort of static fielding and running Frost Nova. Still running out of a little bit there. So far, at least, it hasn't cost us our life, which is always good. Coming up on 18 too, which will be good, because once we get up to 18, we'll be able to teleport through some of the more annoying parts of the maps where, you know, for example, we can see where we have to go, but we're just in the wrong direction. A little bit better there. I was a little happier with the way I managed that one. So we don't really need the waypoint out here in the Lost City, because we're never going to come back. We're just looking for Valley of the Snakes, which is what we've got right now. We don't really need anything other than Valley of the Snakes. So we're going to try to use our map notes again here, which if you look at the Claw Viper Temple entry in there, it's to the left. Wow, somebody just walked by outside with extremely strong perfume because it made it all the way into the garage and overwhelmed the smell of trash that's in here. So somebody has really strong perfume right there. So we're going to run to the left, which will be generally down in this direction. Whoa. So that's an example, right, where our Shiver armor probably saved our life right there. Because we walked into that room and it was just, you know, full of stuff, all of which hit us. And stun locked us, actually. So we did go into hit recovery there, which you probably saw it. Well, I don't know if you saw it or not, but at any rate, we were in hit recovery, which could have been our death. Grand Scepter, 3 sockets, not really anything we need. Sometimes the charms will help right away, so I might continue to identify those. It looks like we're going to have to run back to town here in a moment, because we're a little bit low on potions. Let's see, we need to continue running to the left, so I'm going to run through here. And then run over in this direction. Well always helps. Run down here and then run off to the left again. I don't know if you can hear that, but Winston is with us. He's snoring up a storm over there. Probably can hear the sound of everything else that's in here. Take a moment, come back here and grab any useful pots that may have dropped. Actually, we need a handful of healing. Miner's better than nothing. Grab those. Keep running. Cool. Claw Viper 2. I am going to set a safety TP there because the fellow who's over here is strong enough with his lightning enchant
It's locked.
that he could maybe like one shot or two shot. Right, if these guys spawn like extra fast or extra strong or something like that, and on top of all of that, we have to fight with his sparks from his lightning enchant. It's pretty easy to get overwhelmed there.
Hi. Good to see you.
Cool. We got our other side of the
Who
wand.
would have
That's a
thought
nice
such
wand.
primitive
Sells for
beings could cause
cool
so much
10K.
trouble?
little Dirk down there. 10 fire res. I mean, it's not nothing, but we don't really have anything to put it in, right? We've got our stealth armor. I mean, we might find like a socketed wand that maybe we would throw it in for a short period of time. But for the most part, I mean, we'll hold on to it just in case we want to use it for something, but not much we really need to use it for right now. Stash that chip gem. I'm going to try to keep our socketed stuff sort of a little further away than things that can be put into the sockets, just so that we don't accidentally combine the two. Go talk to Drogman. We'll head down into the palace. Run through there. Oh, I do want to set our controls. So I'm gonna override the R here because I do like R as a skill. That's usually what I use for teleporting is R. So it's better to put it there now. And I think we'll set E to telekinesis. Did I completely forget? Wow, we walked out of town and I completely forgot to get potions. At any rate, I think we will at least be able to get 18 and then get it ourselves into the Arcane Sanctuary. Alright, so let's set E to telekinesis. Did I not? Let's apparently configure controls. E. And then we'll get teleport and set that to R. Throw these in there. We'll keep pumping, I think, vitality for now. Actually, let's do strength. Because we might be able to wear, given our particularly high level in here, I think we can actually wear Ancient's Pledge at 19. So we might benefit from the strength right now. What are we on, level 2? Thank you, Winston. Kill some folks down here. So the other thing about the sorceress is once she starts getting a fair number of skills, it does become a little bit tricky to manage your hotkeys. which is something that I don't have the
This
strong
place
skill to
actually
do.
distorts
So it's nice
reality.
if we just have one sort of weapon skill, attack skill, which is mostly going to be Fireball and Frost Nova. Because that way I don't have to try to remember too many different skills. It's mostly just the one. Let's see if that's any good. Poison Res 13. Now we're going to keep our faster cast rate. Let's see, do we need anything else? We're okay on all of those. We'll just keep running. So Arcane Sanctuary is entirely random. At least the current understanding is that the Arcane Sanctuary is entirely random.
It's locked.
Um,
I am overburdened.
You're overburdened already. Let's pick up that charm and see if it's any good. Oh yeah, I forgot we could have just put it in there. It is a nice place to pick up some runes, because if you kill the ghosts, as long as they don't die on the sort of void area over there, the ghosts can be a good source of runes. It's a crystal sword. Winston is really starting to snore over there, which is kind of cute. 2-socket crystal sword. And you can see when they're all lined up like this, I don't really need Frost Nova. It's only when I can move across like that I'm kind of interested in Frost Nova as something that could potentially sort of slow them down. Right, but the goat guys, I'm not terribly worried about that. Because they all line up in a nice row right there. So we can just fireball them down without having to deal with much. There's an Eth rune, which I don't think at this point we actually need an Eth rune. But just in case. Because we're playing on plug, we can more or less pick everything up. So at some point in the future, we may want an Eth rune for something. So here we go, first guess. Turns out it was not first way. So we'll have to pick another way. So all we're going to do is run out to the end of each one of the Arcane Sanctuary levels.
I am overburdened.
We will pick up anything that's out there. And we'll probably be able to run like 2 directions in between stocking up on potions. Winston's very tired. We should be able to get through all of Act 2, but then Winston's going to have to go outside, and his brother Mir is going to have to go outside, so we will be stopping here and probably around the end of Act 2, I think would be a good stopping point. Go ahead and run back and grab that experience shrine. But experience never hurt anybody. Good, buddy. Looks pretty comfortable there. Cool, another tier rune. So you can see, already gotten some decent runes. I mean, nothing that we particularly needed or that we didn't have before, but still, good rune drops in the Arcane Sanctuary. This is one of the sides where having teleport really helps, because you can just kind of skip over the annoying aspects of it. And also, if you get into a pinch and you've got enough mana, you can teleport out of it. Cool. Another Eth rune. Again, not that we really needed the Eth rune per se, but plentiful. Easy to find. Got a healing potion there too. Mana potion. Alright, so let's check our second way here. Maybe, fingers crossed, we'll get lucky over here. Second way? Yes, second way. Now if we can just avoid dying. Because the guy up there on the top, he hits okay hard when he throws his glacial spikes. Which is obviously something that we want to try to avoid. That. But fortunately he doesn't have a lot of life, so if we can get a couple of firebolts off like that, or fireballs off like that, he will usually die pretty quickly. So we're going to head back, stock up on pots, get rid of anything that we've sort of collected, heal ourselves up, and then we will head to Valley of Kings. Let's see, 14. I still kind of like this one. We've got a pretty okay amulet up there, so we might not be replacing that anytime soon. Through our runes over here. 2 to life. Let's see, so yeah, Ral rune is 19. I don't think we actually have an Ort rune yet. And I don't remember the other rune that goes in there. I think it's some form of like Ort Ral Tal or something like that. Which we do have a Tal and we do have a Ral, but we don't have an Ort. We could, I think, cube up the Ral runes to get an Ort, but you know, might not come around for a while. But it sure would be nice if we could throw on an Ancient's Pledge this early, so that, you know, Act 2, particularly Act 3, would be aided by having an Ancient's Pledge on, because it would give us some fire res. But if you look over at our map notes, the tomb layout, so the symbols that are on there, that's the direction that there are 7 different tombs out there, and they have that particular pattern, and we need to go find the double down arrow. So the double down arrow is going to be sort of up and just slightly to the right, and that'll be the tomb that we're interested in getting. And this is one time I'm going to hire a mercenary, not out here, but for the initial drop down into Bale's chamber, because Bale will charge at you, and I just want my mercenary there to basically take the first hit and die, so that we don't. But sorry, mercenary. So here's our double down arrow, and now that we're in here, we're going to run to the left, which is going to be over here in this general direction. This layout looks a lot similar to the layouts that we had previously seen, so the combat in here is going to feel kind of similar. Just primarily a bunch of Frost Novas and Fireballs, because stuff can get pretty close to us up here. We're also, when we do eventually get to Duriel's room, did I call it Bale's room before? I meant to say Duriel's room. When we get there, we're going to stock up on a bunch of cold res in kind of a mildly cheaty way. It's not really cheaty, I mean, it's part of the game. But we just drink a bunch of potions, thawing potions, Thaylen potions. And with those comes a bunch of cold res. So here we are. Let's just clear out these guys. I'm annoyed by them. It's a nice easy run. This level gets a lot longer when you get to different difficulties.
Impossible. I can't carry anymore.
Why can't you? Did I forget to talk to somebody? No, I just needed it in my inventory. Cool. Just kind of a sloppy way to do that. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to grab a bunch of thawing potions. 6 will probably be enough. And I'm going to also put some juvie pots into our belt there,
To serve you.
because Duriel can hit hard and fast. Just kind of checking around here for anything else that we might want. No. And we're going to just go grab a random mercenary, because what I want is for the mercenary to just basically walk out there and be a meat shield for a couple of seconds. Sure. He'll do just fine. He's not going to last very long. He's just going to walk out there and get hit. But that's going to let me come up behind him, Frost Nova, Static Field, and then open a town portal. I've actually got to put the portal up top, where it's a little bit safer. Up here. Drink, 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 drink. Let's go. See? That's all the longer that he had to last, because then we can pretty much fireball to death after. Ta-da! Heavy gloves. Cool. So if I had wanted to be a little bit more clever about what we had just done right there, I could have teleported around him. We'll keep that poleaxe. Maybe we'll go ahead and grab a merc, since he might now have a decent weapon. But we don't really need any of the auras that the mercenaries have at this point. I mean, the most that they would have is like a prayer aura,
I thank you.
which is just, it's not really going to help us that much.
The art. Stay a while and listen.
We just don't need the mercenary for anything. Cool, so Sanders is nice. It's not going to help us much. It does have 40 life on it. The 20 increased attack speed would be great if we had like a melee attack, but the cold res and the lightning res and the half freeze duration is more important for us. Kind of a junk weapon. We'll try it. We'll throw it into a mercenary. We'll look up really quick what kind of a mercenary would be best. Okay, Winston. Winston has stretched out. He's very comfortable. We could put, you know, maybe like a Tau rune in there. But I don't think that would actually let the mercenary use it yet. And we'll just pitch these two, because they're not, I mean, not pitch them, sell them. Get a little bit of gold for them. Repair everything, check up on any gloves or anything that might be of use. I guess really we're more interested in, at this point, a set of boots that would be
I'm sorry.
decent.
Good evening.
I don't think I want to deal with, yeah, sure, let's get a mercenary.
Good evening.
I think Alhazir will be okay for now, because Alhazir is, I think we got a combat merc, which means he'll have the prayer aura, which is really about the only one that we are interested in. The defensive aura would be nice for Alhazir himself, because it would make him slightly harder to hit, but the bigger thing is just trying to keep him alive might end up being more effort than we really want to bother with. So we'll run over here. We will talk to Jaren.
Greetings, Honor. You have done.
Head back inside the harem and jump over to Act 3. Where'd you go, Mashif?
Greeting. Jaren tells me. Good evening.
Go ahead and sail east.
Welcome. Yes.
See if there's any armor. We are big enough to wear a breastplate now, so we might switch out of our stealth to that, but there's really no reason to switch. No compelling reason to switch unless we just happen to come across a decent set of armor. We could end up finding just a better weapon for a merc. I mean, eventually we want to have an Act 2 merc, and we want to give that merc insight, which is a rune word. But we're not really there yet. We're not close enough
Good day.
to anything like that. You can see in our list over there, we've just still got tons of runes that are not found yet. Ort rune, Thul rune, Soul rune, another Ort rune, another Soul rune. It's just, we've got a little whiles to go before we get all of that. We're here a little bit ahead of schedule, so maybe we'll go till about 12:30. Plus, little Winston's still snoozing, so we don't have to worry too much about Winston waking up. We are to the point now where we can afford, or at least we can start buying bigger mana pots, so we can buy full mana potions now, which will help us teleport. It does mean we're going to have to be on the lookout for things that are worth more gold, because we are going to start kind of chewing through our gold here pretty fast. Keep making a few of our full rejuvenation potions, which we don't really, need right now, but we're going to want them later. And we're going to try to read Act 2 maps. We'll see how or Act 3 maps. So the forest marsh jungle area always follows this sort of 2x6 block layout, which we're going to try to read, but we'll see. We've also got teleport now. Let me make sure I have some pots in there. So we're going to try to just run a little bit, but it'll be a little bit easier for us compared to other characters because we can just jump over the river wherever we need to. I'm not going to go teleport crazy just because I'm not particularly great at teleport. But for something like that, for example, we'll just jump over to the other side. Act 3 is a good place to level up too, grab some experience. Okay, apparently I got the wrong Act 2 mercenary. I must have gotten an offensive one. If we're going to go to the trouble of keeping an Act 2 mercenary alive, he's at least going to be one that has a decent aura. So we're going to go back and grab a combat mercenary. Just the highest level we can get. Combat 14, defensive 17, nothing. I don't know if he actually resets. I think he only resets in between games. So let's leave and come back. Come here, Warif.
Your presence honors me.
Scoop jumping. Oh, can't do it to him. Combat 16, not bad. Offensive, sure, we'll take a combat at 16. At least that will give us a prayer, or which will be more useful for both of us. Eventually we would probably switch. Well, in Nightmare we will definitely switch to the offensive, because I think the offensive is the one that's got Holy Freeze, which is a really useful aura. And we'll probably stick with that for a significant portion of time. Keep running, short spear. So there's lots of stuff out here that moves fast. And because there's a lot of stuff that moves fast, you can kind of quickly walk into an area where you're overwhelmed by stuff. So we'll try to keep our health high, keep our shiver armor on, so that things can't at least all hit us at the same time. And then we will try to explore a little bit of the map to figure out sort of what its layout looks like, and then we'll try to do a little bit of map reading on it. Always picking up pots, because they will eventually get pretty expensive. Kind of following the river over to this side. what we're hoping for is a map that skips an area called the Great Marsh, because it's possible to go directly from the Spider Forest into the Flared Jungle, and that's the direction we would have to go without having to go through the Great Marsh. So it would be nice if we could skip something like that, but we'll see. Max stamina, nothing. So I'm still trying to figure out exactly which way we're headed here. Fair number of amulets are dropping. It's kind of nice. Alright, so it looks like it's kind of bending down this way. I know, Winston's upset. My stomach is making a lot of noises. Sounds like it's going to be time for lunch soon. Or maybe he's just upset at the potential sounds of somebody outside. Winston gets upset at many different things.
I am overburdened.
That long staff could be one of those things that sells, but that one will not. Let's see. We'll keep doing vitality because we're about to get some extra skill points here, or stat points from the quest. There's a spider cavern, so we're gonna head down there to get a piece. Act 3 is another one of those collection acts, so we need 3 body parts, which will end up forming a flail. One of which is down here. But let's see, what do we want to pump up? Probably just keep going with Fireball. Keeping Fireball up. Scizark the Burning can definitely kill you. So, props to our mercenary for getting out there. The spiders down here are also resistant to fire. So that can make it a little annoying for a Fireball Sorceress. There's our eye. Let's go grab those gloves that were over here. Just because the gloves might end up being either worth something or just a useful addition. Alright, let's see if we can figure this out. So it looks like we are in block 2. There's block 3. And there appears to be no turnoff in block 3. So we will go up to block 5. Because that was block 1. I think that was block 2. I think we're in block 3 right now. And the turnoffs always happen on blocks 3 and 5, unless you go straight. In which case they could turn off to block 6. And there's nothing else we need in this area, so we've already got our eye. So we'll just keep running up here. Bum, ba, bum, ba, bum. We're just gonna keep running. Eventually that prey aura will be like mildly helpful, that the mercenary is running around with. But it's such a slow heal that it's one of those like, oh, that's nice. You know, we took a couple of hits and didn't have to use a potion on them, but I mean, it's so slow that it's kind of hard to make an argument to use it for much of a longer period than, you know, running from town to town or something like that. Alright, if we are checking our maps again here, I think we're in 5 here, so it might actually be a straight map this time. We're going to scooch over here really quick and check. But I don't think there's going to be anything. Yeah, it's just the river coming back down here. There's no turnoffs. back here, so we could be in for a straight shot all the way through. We'll check over on this corner since the map is turning off there, but this should be just a dead end that doesn't lead us anywhere important. I mean, we're going up here because we get experience, but right, there's no next section of the map up here. It's just a waypoint. But the river appears to be turning to the right, so it does look like there's going to be a turnoff over here. Fingers crossed it's to the Flare jungle, but it looks like it's going to be a Great Marsh over here. Great Marsh. So we will check 6, going straight forward on our map back there, just for, the off chance that there is a straight through to the Flare jungle. But more than likely, I'm guessing this is just going to be a dead end up there. But, still learning the maps, so could get lucky going up here. Sure does look like dead end to me.
It's locked.
It's locked indeed. Yep, and then nothing of any particular interest up here, so it looks like we're going to have to run through the whole Great Marsh. Ooh. So when we have relatively little fire res and you run into somebody who breathes fire, it's not necessarily the best thing in the world.
Not enough mana.
So we're not really doing anything up here. We're not hoping to get out of the spider forest up in this corner. I'm just hoping that these enemies over here, we get a little bit of... Wow, it's continuing to go. Did we... Wow, look at that. That's neat. We got luckier than I thought we would be. If we had gone over into... If we had gone back and gone through the Great Marsh, we would have found that the entire 2x6 block of the Great Marsh, which is quite large, was a giant dead end. And we would have just run around over there for probably 30 minutes or more. Well, okay, maybe not 30 minutes, 20 minutes or more, looking for the exit, never finding it, and there's absolutely nothing that we need over there. So what we're going to do, we're going to spend a little bit of time in the Flare jungle. Cold 18, poison 7, half freeze. We've already got cold 20, so ours are better than that. And our mercenary can't wear them, so nothing of any good there. We need some potions, so we're going to run up here to Alcor.
Damn it! Hello.
Oh, actually, I forgot. Yeah, Ormus has the potions. We will go ahead and turn in our figurine, which I believe the figurine is going to end up giving us just like a flat 20 to life. That's so cool. I'm so glad we kept going straight so that we could get the Flare jungle. It's nice. Golden Bird Alcor, which he's just going to give us a little potion that gives us 20 to life.
From the ashes.
So up to 214, which is not awful. It's not great. I'm also going to set a safety TP because we are so far out here in the jungle. So what we're looking for, obviously exit to the Flare jungle is going to be helpful because that's the next area that we're headed towards is outside of the Flare jungle. But also the waypoint, because we may end up wanting to come back here and farm the Flare Jungle. But also because we could just end up dying. But the Flare Jungle has a lot of good enemies, in the sense that it's, you know, high density and relatively low life. Like that. Cool.
I can't carry
Battle
anymore.
staff might sell for something. Yeah, that'll probably sell for a lot. Grab a sapphire, because why not? So we're trying to figure out what the pattern is out here to see which way they fall off. It looks like we're going to end up going to the right. I think we're just going to end up letting our mercenary die, because there's so much going on out here that I just, like, his aura is not helpful enough that I want to keep it. And we don't need him to kill anything, because we're doing just fine in that aspect on our own with the fireball. So we're just going to leave our mercenary dead. He doesn't have any weapons or anything that we really need. So... Okay, so it looks like the turnoffs are going to be over here to the right. So keep an eye on that. Elrune is utterly pointless. I mean, I'm going to pick it up just so we have a few of them, but there aren't very many rune words that need an Elrune. Beans. Probably just keep pumping up our fireball. Man, it is so hard to see stuff out. This would be one area where Nova would be nice, because Nova you don't have to aim. You just walk into a pack of monsters and set off some Novas, and they're all dead. But I still like our fireball approach. You know, it's been good to us so far. Longsword, I don't think the longsword can actually get 4 open sockets, which is what we need. We're keeping an eye out for a 4 open socket sword. Yeah, 3. Because sooner or later we're going to want a 4 open socket sword. We'll keep going Vitality, because I don't really expect to find an Ort rune anytime soon. And we don't really need anything else. I mean, we could potentially switch to a Glacial Spike build, but I like our Fireball. We'll just keep going Fireball. We'll go ahead and set another safety TP a little bit closer to where we are out here. Because a little guy's going to run out and try and kill us here, and he's going to drop us. There we go. And he's like, drops the Jidbin,
I must take this
Gidbin,
to Ormus.
whatever. And that will get us, I believe, 5 stat points. And then we'll take those 5 stat points and dump them into strength. And that'll get us up to 35. And I think that'll be enough to wear any of the shields that we would need. And then we'll probably just leave it at 35 for quite a while. So we set the waypoint back, or the town portal, because right now we don't have the waypoint, and I don't want to run all the way down into the Flare Jungle and then have to turn around and run all the way back out here. So I set the town portal, and we're just going to keep running until we find either the next area or the waypoint for Flare Jungle, whichever one happens first. good experience out here. As long as we can survive. So, we've got this area over here. This is going to have to probably jump back to the right. Or, excuse me, jump back to the left. But we can keep running straight as well, because the next area will be out there. The shamans that are out here don't really bother me too much, as long as we don't end up right next to one of them, which we will see in the next area. One of them has just an enormous amount of firepower, which we just don't be up next to. Hey, set of heavy boots. Definitely gonna pick those up. Grab some heavy boots. It looks like we might end up actually finding the exit before we find the waypoint. I still kind of want the waypoint, so we might just come back. That's some spiciness. Thankfully, we have Frost Nova, which slows everything down and gives us a second to take care of him. And, of course, our Shiver Armor is just saving our life over and over and over again. Stopping large groups from just going to town on us. Don't need any of that stuff. This should be our outlet up here. Yeah, there's the boat. Boy, we are so low on mana right now. I think what we're going to do is just skip. There's a boss pack up here. I think we're just going to skip around them and go try and find the waypoint. Because they would suck up a lot of our mana, and I just need to get to the next point. So that we can go back to town, because I can't reset right now our town portal, because if we reset our town portal, we lose the access to the one that we already have, which is not good. So all we're doing right now is just trying to stay alive, ignoring all of these guys. We are just looking for a waypoint. We're in an area called Lower Kurast, which has a town port or a waypoint in it, and that is all we are looking for right now, is just the waypoint. We're gonna put on our stamina pot so that I don't have to worry about running out of stamina. And we're just slowing everything down. Got it. Excellent. Head back to town, stock up on some potions, sell a fair amount of stuff, get a ring. Level 1 charge bolt is absolute trash, but that's what we want. Poison res, faster cast rate, and a little bit of energy. It does beat a plain faster cast rate, so we've got that. A little bit of faster run walk. Look at that cold res on there. 13 MF. Great set of boots that we found out there. Sell that staff for a bunch. Get the other staff out. Sell that for a bunch. Cool, 15k from each one of those. And now we can stock up on our potions again. Let's see, we don't need Shira for anything. We already have our ring. Put the L rune down here. I don't really know why we would need any of these, but we'll keep them just in case. Alright, let's see, what do we want to do? I think we'll just go down into the Flare jungle and not worry too much about the fact that we don't have the waypoint. We'll set a safety TP in here, and we'll judge our map. Let's see, Flare jungle should be off to the left. So that was kind of dangerous. I think if we're going to do some teleporting like that, we should at least put some rejuvenation potions into our belt, so that
Carry anymore.
if we were to do something like that, we would not pop directly into bad guys. So let's switch out this one and put in some rejuvenation potions. Because there are definitely plenty of packs around here that can kill us. We will keep running to the left over here. Cool. There's level 2. Let's see. This one, according to our map notes, is also going to be off to the left, which in this case, this orientation will mean up and to the right. Kind of weird, but... keep running over here. Cool. So just like that, we're in level 3. I don't know how any of these work, but I think whichever way we can go, we're just going to teleport and go the opposite way. It's just going to be my guess. Oh no. So that was hit recovery. You see we were kind of stun locked there for a second. That's where any of that like faster hit recovery comes in. Having higher life makes it harder for them to put you into that kind of hit recovery. Our Shiver Armor helps because they get slowed down. They hit so hard if you just walk into a pack up like that. But it looks like we did find our... Oh, he's immune to fire, right? We can take him out with cold. Just takes a little bit. How much life do you have left? Whoops. Got pretty close to biting the dust there. There is absolutely no reason to kill the Witch Doctor, other than I just want to kill him right now. We do need to remember to stock up on our other stuff. How you doing? What's your life at, Witch Doctor? We should be able to get you. He's also magic resistant, so... I can't even see his life total. Very slow. It's kind of ridiculous. Like now it's one of those sunk cost fallacies of like, I don't think we actually have enough damage to kill him for that last bit. I don't think so. We're just gonna skip it. Ah well.
This is good day.
It's so hard to see his life total because it's so dark down there. Anyway, we got the brain, which is what we were after, and we got our waypoint. It's about 12:35 now. This is a pretty good stopping point. I do want to, before I forget, grab some town portals, because we will need those as we go. We'll throw the brain and the eye in here. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. We are doing okay. In terms of our runes, there's not much we can do really until we get an Ort rune. That's sort of the next item that we would be interested in. And if we get an Ort rune, then we can make ourselves an Ancient's Pledge. And the Ancient's Pledge will give us quite a bit more res for ourselves. And then we'll get 5 skill points here for another quest. And that'll bump us up to 34. We'll just dump them, all 5 of them, right into our strength. So we'll have a solid 35 strength. And then we'll be doing okay. We got a decent set of gloves today, decent set of boots today. Plenty of cold res. Like, we're doing just solid on our cold res. Poison res, who cares? Could use that fire res, so before we get to Act 4, we'll at least put one of these Rao runes into a helm. If not both of them, potentially. Maybe I'll look up, we'll do some Countess runs to try to find ourselves an Ort rune. But I have to look up if she can actually drop up to an Ort rune on normal before we go spend a bunch of time doing that. And then as far as skills go, probably just keep pumping up Fireball. That'll take us through all of normal. And then when we get to Nightmare, we'll probably switch. I'm a fan of Frozen Orb, so we'll probably switch over to Frozen Orb. Maybe around like level 32, 33, when we can get Frozen Orb up to a couple of points and give ourselves a couple of mastery points. Both of those will help. But until then, we'll just keep popping both of these. Grab one Fire Mastery while we need it. Cool, but that's that. If you're watching our recording, thanks for hanging out. If you were out here joining this live, thanks for hanging out. I might come back a little bit later this afternoon, but I'm going to go grab some lunch, probably do a little bit of work. Got to grade some exams, got to draw some stuff. I'm working on a LaTeX package to draw some stuff, so probably work on that. So again, thanks for hanging out. Stay safe out there. Try to go get yourself vaccinated if you can. Definitely before June. You're going to want to have that because things are going to get wild when we open back up in June. You want to make sure you're vaccinated. Have a good one all. Stay safe out there. We'll see you soon.